explored to work with the sticks, and then of course we also explored like how we were searching for different musics, which one would work with this work, and finally we came up with these solutions. Actually, you have to know that this is a renewal of a piece, but in fact, so we started that I wanted to renew the original version. But as we started to work, I just felt that everything changed because of the dancers are totally different, and it was really a big factor in it. And also I changed a lot because the piece was originally shown like 5 years ago. So actually this is a totally new piece. It started as a renewal of an older one, but now it's a totally different thing. And we kept certain musics from the old version, maybe 2 or 3. And the rest is taken from other things.
How much the dancers were involved into the process? I mean, you said that it's a renewal, but still, I think if there are different dancers, you have to make the piece for them. I mean, to fit to their bodies and.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That it changed everything. Their impact changed everything. So actually, it's really based on their. Most of it is based on their own movement vocabulary or what we figured out together. So I used really their stuff.
We work a lot with lighting in this piece, and it creates sometimes a very intimate atmosphere, and then it creates not so intimate atmosphere. What was the dramaturgy behind it? I mean, if you are using lighting like this, I think, or according to my experience, it has to be some kind of dramaturgical line behind.
Well, to be quite honest, there was no. And it's simply because actually we didn't have the possibility to really explore with the light. So to do the same kind of consequent explorative work what we could do with the movement and with this equipment with the light, it's not really possible. So I really it was the last thing that came into the piece, and I really left a big freedom for the light designer to do whatever he feels to do. Of course we discussed certain things, but to be quite honest, there was no real, like a very consequent dramaturgical. I mean, except of course certain things like the building of the frame. So of course certain things were necessary to do with the lights. So that's the base of the whole thing, and then the rest is it's kind of an improvisation. I mean, not from time to time, but.
Let's talk about these red sticks. Why red? It's just because of the image, I mean, only because of the stage, or is there any other reason behind?
This is, I mean, I was thinking of using other colors, but finally I couldn't really imagine other colors, probably because the original version was also red, so I think I was influenced by that. But also there's another very practical thing, sorry, but we have these practical things, and it would be very nice to say something very sophisticated, but in fact the costumes were given. They are also from the old version, and to be quite honest, we didn't have any money to make any new costumes, or really to make really other equipment, so we had to use what we had. And I mean, with these costumes, I think probably a yellow stick wouldn't work.
And I would like to ask you how did you feel yourself in a piece which is already made, and then you have to fit to it?
Well, the truth is that we have never seen the original piece, you see, so we didn't have any preconception of what he had done, and personally I didn't know Gyula as an art historian, as a choreographer. choreographer. So I came into the piece as a virgin somebody, and it's been a really refreshing process because we did not know each other with any of the dancers, and we only worked together for 6 weeks, and it was a very intense work. And I think the piece shows that this how we came together as people, as dancers, as artists. So it's also our little story is hidden in this piece. All these little chats, girly talks, whatever goes on between dancers or artists. And so I think that's for me it's a very personal piece because of this. We really put ourselves into it. I mean, also mentally and physically. So it's been really a very creative work with Gyula, and he gives you a lot of space to explore. Of course, then you just say fuck off and you don't say anything. What are we here to do? And just play with the sticks. Yeah, do something crazy. Just play with the sticks. And then you say it's great. Okay, give me a second. Just give me a second. So sometimes it's hard because he's not a strict person who says okay do this and do that. So he's not like that. So it's been very exciting to explore this kind of work together.
Yeah, in the beginning he's on stick, but after he wants that the piece should be the pure, so pure movement, pure moving, so no preparation, no extra stuff, really like pure dance. So he was always thinking, he saw what we did, and after next day he came inside and I was thinking about no, we cannot do like that, you have to do like that. So we changed a lot in this little period, in the 6 weeks.
But it was a great experience to work with him and work with the girls also. He gave us very big freedom inside the rules. He given, for example, to work with the sticks, and it is also a hard task to work with tools because it makes much more bigger the mistakes, and it is a different task. I never had exercise a task like this before. So
Just wondering, because of the title is in the middle of the sound, is according to the title, I would say that there should be some kind of philosophical background to it. Did you have anything in your mind when you created it? The girl said that you gave them a big freedom, but still you are the choreographer.
Well, there's this quote from Osho. He has a writing, a short writing about the sounds, how they travel to us, to the person, and then the conclusion is that finally, like, the sounds came from every directions, but at the end, in the middle of the sound, there is silence and there is emptiness. And also it's us, like, deeply within ourselves, to find this silence. So that was the initiation point, or the initiation thought. And therefore I don't know how others or you perceive, but I really like at the very end this moment when there is this brutal music and very loud, and then when they put down the sticks and then they create this empty space, the triangle in the middle of the space. That's a little bit like the symbol of the whole thing for me, because they create silence immediately, like in a split second, and then there is this emptiness in the middle. So that's kind of the symbol of, for me, of the whole thing.
Yes, but before they would find the silence, they have to give voice.
Right.
Okay, I would like to invite the audience also to question the choreographer and the performers. Is there any question about the piece itself? Yes?
Yeah, I'm curious, why did you do this piece?
Why?
Yeah.
Yes, tell us.
Because I like the original version, and I thought that it's a valuable thing. It was a valuable work in my life, and I was still interested in working with these sticks. I felt that it's not finished. That there are other things there to explore, and besides that, because I just wanted to work, and you always have to find something to work with. Yeah, basically, but I had this interest still in this working with these holes.
As object itself, or in relation to the body?
And the dancers, just as I told at the beginning. So I was searching for. I started to work with them, and I was searching for. I wanted to work with a group again, actually, and I was searching for something that is interesting for me. And that's what I kind of did.
Yes, of course.
Why is it important that it's works? Or was it a personal interest?
No, it was not it was not a necessity. It's again one of those. So it happened by chance that it's only girls. So it's there are all these lots. I mean, I made an audition, and actually girls came to the audition. So I said that I can do this piece with girls. So, but if there would be a boy, probably it would be a different work, a different piece, but there would be probably a boy in it.
Is there any more question? Behind? Yes.
Actually, I'm interested about direction of your piece. From the beginning, you put some kind of metrics that everything will be in atmosphere, in emotions, etc. And after that, in direction, the pieces, actually there is no transition between one piece to another. Everything is fragmented and like a collage. So why this kind of thing, for example? So sticks are obviously object, maybe parallel that the performers. So why there is no relation between dancers and this object? Why is everything like sport, for example? Or why all these cuts are also visible in the light design? Maybe simple question, why you leave blue light at the end and not square? So what about this kind of direction, this piece? Because it's a very strange direction. Did it you with a purpose, or there is some other trajectory that I can maybe not see?
For me, it's a process, and as we perform it more and more, I have the feeling that maybe it's only just my projection, but I have the feeling that we find more and more the transition between the sections of the work. Maybe it's not so visible from the outside, but somehow I don't feel that it's so segmented. But maybe it's because I'm so much involved in the whole thing, and sometimes. And other times it doesn't disturb me if there is a jump, if the jump is somehow understandable or followable. So I don't always need that. Also as an audience member, other times I don't always need like a smooth transition from one thing to the other thing. I don't exactly know what you think or which sections do you think that there is a big jump or there is a cut where you cannot or you couldn't follow. So maybe that would be easier to talk about it in this way. But in general, I see that I see this process that we find more and more. Maybe the meaning, I can say meaning, but it's not really a meaning in that sense behind the abstractness. But and as for the light, as I told you, there was no real. We didn't really have the possibility to really consider. I'm not someone who can really figure out something theoretically. I have to see it. I have to work with it. So this would be a next step if we would have a chance to get into the theater and we have enough time and we can try different things out. And if we have time with the light designer to sit down and to think over the whole thing, that would be the next step. It can be a development.
But I have a question which maybe doesn't really touch exactly the piece, but I'm curious about your background or maybe some inspiration during your work, because we're not really, we don't really know very well the Hungarian scene, so maybe there are something we can't see in it. So maybe if you can tell us something more about your work in general and background as a choreographer.
Well, I started as a folk dancer, and besides that, I learned ballet. And at the beginning, I wanted to be a ballet dancer, but then I gave this idea up. And then very slowly, I went into courses to learn modern dance, jazz, and so many different things. Like also different modern dance technique, Limon, Graham, and so on, all these things. And then I worked with a group of people, and that was my first company. And actually, it was quite a long story because we almost worked for 10 years. I mean, some people were like steady people in it, 2 or 3, and the rest was sometimes changing. But the group as it is, it was more or less almost for 10 years. And then I went into the Netherlands, and then I studied in the European Dance Development Center in Arnhem. And then I came back, and since that time I'm again like a freelance artist and working with people and doing these projects.
Is there some choreographer or some other artist who really inspired your work, or it's just a lot of influences from everywhere? Like
well, there were many influences, and it's hard for me to say that. I think I don't have a favorite one, but I remember that when I started like 30 or 40 years ago, I really enjoyed the work of Anna Teresa de Kersmacher. That was clearly an inspiration, and I made a piece which can resemble to her work. It's an old piece. But since that time
Which one?
it's called Vermont Counterpoint. It goes on a Steve Reich music. It's a very old piece. And what I can see is that I always try to do different things. Of course, I mean, if someone watches my work from the outside, probably can see similarities. But still, I think I don't have a method. I don't have a very consequent way of working, or I don't have a constant theme. I think from project to project, I really try to do something which is also new for me. So therefore, I think my pieces are quite different. Like the other piece that we play nowadays, it's a completely different thing. It's an interactive game. Actually, it's not a piece. It's an interactive game with the audience, and it goes with computer language. And the audience can give instructions to the dancers, and the dancers work or move according to that. That's a totally different story. So it has nothing to do with this work.
Okay, thank you. If there is no more question, I would like to say thank you for the dancers and for
Thank you.
Thank you. And we can go to the next